Hello, so today is my next update for my LASIK video diary. I had LASIK done on Thursday. Today is now Saturday, so it's about the third day. And I just wanted to describe the procedure, how I felt during the procedure, and how I felt afterwards, and then how my recovery has been up until this point. So on the day of my procedure, I was extremely nervous. Like, I'm sure that everybody that does this is probably very nervous because it's your eyes, right? You don't want them to screw up and then you all of a sudden go blind. What happened was I went to the clinic and they did a couple of tests just to reconfirm the information that they gathered in your first visit during your consultation. So they checked all of that, made sure everything was okay, your corneas are thick enough to go through with this procedure. You meet briefly with the surgeon, and he goes over everything, and he's like, oh, do you have any questions? This is how it's going to go, and you're going to love it, it's going to be great. Fine. They gave me my anti-anxiety medication to try and calm me down. To be honest with you, it helped a bit, but it really didn't calm me down that much. Maybe that's because I'm super anxious. I don't know. So they brought me downstairs, which is where they have their operating rooms. And basically, it's a two-step process. They bring you into the first room. Okay, they lie you down. I'm not going to be super brutally honest here, like I don't want to deter anyone from going through with this because it really is a great thing, but this first step was super traumatic for me. Like I don't even know how I got through it. So they lie you down and they cover your first eye and they numb you. Actually, no, sorry, they numb you first. They put the drops in. Then they cover this eye, they kind of like tape it up. And they're telling you to stare at a light, okay? Keep your eye on the light, and then all of a sudden they put this, it looks like a plastic mechanism, and it has a circle. And they put it directly on the eyeball, okay? All of a sudden, everything disappears. You go completely blind, okay? So at this point, I freak out. I'm like, oh my God, I can't see anything. And they're like, okay, no, it's normal, don't worry about it. They wheel you over to like this other machine, and this machine presses down on your eyeball, okay? It's kind of like a suction thing, and I think this is the actual part where they are cutting your flap, okay? So some places they do offer the blade option, and I believe that this is like a discount option. However, the clinic that I went to does not offer this. It's an all laser method. So this second machine presses down on your eyeball, and I'm telling you, you've never felt pressure like this before. I mean, I would probably say that it's even a little bit painful. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but it's a tremendous amount of pressure. So it's pressing down, and then the nurse is like, okay, well, 18 seconds left for this laser. So this laser is cutting your flap for 18 seconds, and it's just pushing so hard. Then suddenly it stops. Okay, and I can kind of see now, but I was like, oh my God, can I keep my eye closed? Can I shut my eye closed? They're like, yeah, sure, you can do that. So then they wheel you back over to the first machine, and they kind of do the same thing with this eye. But because I'm freaking out, I go, are you sure that I'm completely numb? Like, are you sure? And then they're like, yeah, don't worry, you're as numb as can be. Then the doctor, I kind of felt him like rubbing my face. He's like, okay, relax. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot. I'm really scared right now. So they did the first part. Again, I went completely blind. It's the weirdest thing ever. And of course, I was still freaking out. Doctor was like, okay, so as he's moving me, to the second machine that puts the pressure on your eye, he's like, okay, don't talk for this one. No talking. Same thing happens. Tremendous amount of pressure. Feel this laser pressing down on your eyeball, like pressure you've never felt before. Finally stops, wheel you back over. I don't know, I don't even know what they did. I was kind of delirious at this point, and they're like, okay, you can get up. And I'm like, I want to keep my eyes closed, but I opened them just for a second, just to make sure I wasn't blind. And you can see, it's just kind of like everything is in a fog. That's the best way I can describe it. It's kind of like there's a veil over everything, but you can see, like, you're not blind at this point. And so they're like, okay, we're gonna bring you over to this chair. They brought me over to this chair, and they're like, okay, keep your eyes closed for 10 minutes. So I'm like, okay. So I was keeping my eyes closed, but the way that I can describe how your eyes feel after this point is like, when you close them, you can kind of see like the outline of a circle, okay, on your eyelid or eyeball, whatever. And I don't know if that's just me, but I'm thinking that that's like my flap. You know, I can see where they cut around. And it just kind of feels like, you know, when you have a cut and like your skin doesn't come off all the way and it's kind of like loose skin. That's kind of like the sensation that I felt in my eyes, okay? So it was really weird, and I was freaking out. I was still freaking out. I was like, oh my god, that was the scariest thing ever. I hope the like actual laser part is better. Okay, so they took me into the laser room. And they lie you down. This part was much easier, okay? You think that this is the scary part, but it was actually super quick. It was 10 minutes in and out. Like, it was so much easier than the first part. So they lie you down. Again, I think they put numbing drops in your eyes, and they're having you stare up at this green light. Okay? They're like, okay, keep your eye on the green light, keep your eye on the green light, and then you see the doctor come in. And I'm assuming that he's lifting the flap because all of a sudden the light goes really blurry. And they're like, okay, you're fine, you're doing great, try and keep your eye on the green light, try and find it again. Laser comes in. They said that the laser shooting into your eye is like 45 seconds, but to me, honestly, it only felt like it was about 10 seconds. It was so quick. So the laser comes, you hear it kind of like doing this clicking noise. People tell me that they smell like burning, like your eyeball evaporating. It smells like burning hair. Like you smell it a bit, but honestly, it wasn't what I was expecting. It was just like very little. It wasn't an uncomfortable or disgusting smell or anything. It was just like you smell it a bit, and that was it. So they do this light. It honestly, it only felt like 10 seconds. They remove it. And then you see doctor coming in. So he puts your flap back, and then you could see the light more clearly, the green light, which you're supposed to stay fixated on. And then it kind of looked like, you know when you go to the dentist and that tool that they use to like scrape the plaque out of your teeth? It looked like he was using something like that. And he was kind of like smoothing it over my eyeball. Like he kind of went like this a bunch of times, I guess to make sure that it was closed properly, smoothly and everything. Then that was it. They did the same thing with the other eye. No big deal. They keep your eye open with like this metal thing. It's kind of this shape. They put it and they stretch your eyeball, and you can't blink, you can't move, anything. Like, so don't worry about that. But yeah, this second part was so much easier. They finished it up. All of a sudden, the doctor was like standing on my side, and he's like, okay, you can get up now. So I sit up, and I was amazed. I could see. Everything was foggy. He goes, how do you feel? How can you see? I go, I can see, but I mean, you're a little bit foggy, but I can see. Everything is fine. I looked up the clock. I could see the clock. You know, everything that they tell you, everything that you've seen on TV, it's true. You can get up and you can see much better than you could before. So then what they did was I stood up. I was able to walk on my own. Everything was fine. I went and I sat down on this like lazy boy kind of chair, and they have you rest with your eyes closed for about 20 minutes. Your eyes are still numb. You don't really feel anything. And before you leave, they have a doctor just check your eyes just to make sure that the flap is closed properly. So everything was fine, and they had me leave. Cool. They gave me goggles. To me, the ones that they gave me, they literally look like just a regular pair of ugly sunglasses. They don't look like the crazy, like, big, clear things that have a strap around your head. They literally are just a regular pair of cheap, ugly sunglasses. So I wore those all the way home. My eyes were closed the whole way home because they say that you have to keep your eyes shut as much as possible. So On the ride home, I was expecting this recovery to go much worse than it actually did. But honestly, my recovery, knock on wood, it has been very good. As the numbing drops started to wear off, I felt just tiny little bit of burning, but it wasn't to the extent that I was expecting. I was expecting my eyes to be running, my eyes to feel like they were on fire or like super itchy. I was really worried about rubbing my eyes or having the need or the desire to rub my eyes, but I did not feel that at all. So came home, and they give you like 4 types of drops. They give you like a steroid one, an antibiotic one, artificial tears, and the 4th one that they give you is just to be used kind of like in an emergency, kind of like it's a pain relief drop, anti-inflammatory or something like that. So when I came home, first thing I did was I did the steroid drop, antibiotic drop, the artificial tear drop, and because I was starting to feel a little bit of pain, I did the pain relief drop. You're supposed to separate all of these drops by about 3 minutes. So I did that. I kept my glasses on because you're supposed to keep them on pretty much the whole day. Lights off. I was able to like eat lunch. It was totally fine. And then I went and I took a little bit of a nap. When I woke up, I literally felt so great. Like, the only thing I felt after that was maybe just a bit of discomfort. It feels kind of like you have rocks in your eyes. But that didn't last very long for me. It only lasted about an hour or so. And so you just continue to administer your drops, and you do feel better when you put the drops in. So seriously, totally fine. And I noticed that like after I woke up from my nap, I felt 100 times better than I did, which I wasn't even feeling that bad to begin with. And I noticed that when I tried to open my eyes, I'm like, oh my God, like I can see, everything was a little bit foggy, but everything was clear, you could see. It's the most amazing thing. Afterwards, like by the end of the day, my eyes, you can't really open them. You can only open them about halfway. Your eyes are very swollen. But really, I did not feel any discomfort. So now, how have I been since then? The past few days have been super easy for me, to be honest with you. Like, I can see, I went for my 1-day follow-up appointment, and they said that I'm totally on par. Everything looks good. Just a tiny bit of inflammation. But that will continue to get better as the days go on. I'm not at 20/20 yet. However, it's normal. I'm on par, and I'm legally able to drive, and I'm also legally able to take the restriction off my driver's license. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of like you're a blank slate now. You're starting over. Yeah, I'm looking around the room right now. Everything is super clear. It feels like I have my glasses on or something, or contacts. Yeah, just a bit of dryness, but I'm totally fine. This was probably the scariest experience that I've ever gone through up till this point, but it's so cool. It's really cool. You endure about 20 minutes of discomfort and fear and anxiety, but afterwards it's like you don't even realize how bad you felt before because you feel so great now. So actually maybe I'll show my eyes. I'll look that way. I have like a little bit of a blood vessel even in this eye. Yeah, you could see that. That's really, yeah. So basically what that is, they said it's normal. It happens to a lot of people. It's from the suction. So when they're suctioning your corneal flap up, it kind of brings these blood vessels to the surface. And it's not really painful or anything. They just said it goes away in a few days. So although it looks disgusting, whatever. I'll take it. I can see clear. Yesterday, I was going out and I'm kind of like, I live on this hill. So I looked up the hill. At the top of the hill, there was a house there, right? And I go to my mom. I'm like, you know what? I think I can see the number of that house. It's 31. She goes, what? Are you joking? Like, I can't even see it. And she has, like, perfect vision. She doesn't really need glasses or anything. So we get in the car, and she's like, I'm curious. Let's drive by that house now. So we drove by, and it was number 31. So you know what, y'all? I feel great. And I'm hoping that, well, I have to go for my 1 week follow-up appointment next week. And the doctor that checked me out the other day, she said, by then, I'm sure that you'll be seeing 20/20. And your eyes will continue to improve by then. So I will probably do another update after I go for my 1 week follow-up. But for now, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Peace out. Bye-bye.